Imagine this, a full-grown woman in yoga pants and a messy bun screeching into her phone, demanding the cops arrest a cashier because her coupons expired, only to end up getting hauled away in cuffs herself when the body cam shows she was the one throwing McNuggets like grenades. Yeah, America's Karens have turned calling 911 into an extreme sport where they accidentally score own goals harder than a drunk kicker at the Super Bowl. Today, we're counting down 49 of the most brain-melting, face-palm-worthy moments where these entitled queens dialed emergency services and instantly regretted it, complete with viral videos, instant karma, and enough secondhand embarrassment to last a lifetime. You won't believe how dumb things get, so smash that like button if you've ever dealt with a Karen, drop your wildest Karen story in the comments, hit subscribe with notifications on so you never miss the chaos, and let's dive into the dumbest police calls in American history. 1. A middle-aged woman wearing yoga pants and a messy bun sat inside her shiny Tesla scrolling angrily while traffic moved slowly around her. Another driver waited patiently behind as she suddenly stepped out and dragged her keys across the door in pure rage. The Tesla owner stared in disbelief from the driver's seat, feeling shock turn into silent amusement. The woman then called the police, loudly claiming harassment and intimidation. She felt confident and smug while nearby pedestrians watched awkwardly. Officers arrived calm and professional. Sentry mode footage played, clearly showing her vandalism. The mood flipped instantly. Her face drained as cuffs clicked, and the owner smiled quietly at the irony. 2. A drunk suburban woman in her late 30s stood barefoot on her porch, arguing with a tired locksmith late at night. She refused to pay him after he finished unlocking her door and demanded more work while swaying slightly. Neighbors peeked through curtains, feeling secondhand embarrassment. She angrily called 911, insisting the locksmith was scamming her. The dispatcher listened as her words slurred together. Officers arrived and immediately smelled alcohol. The locksmith crossed his arms, relieved. Police asked simple questions while she grew defensive and emotional. A sobriety check followed quickly. The call ended with flashing lights and her arrest, while the locksmith quietly packed his tools. 3. A young woman sharing a rental house exploded during a heated kitchen argument with her roommates late one evening. She grabbed her phone and stormed onto the porch, shaking with anger and pride. She called the police, claiming strangers were trespassing in her home. Inside the house, the roommates stood confused and annoyed, packing boxes in silence. Officers arrived and calmly asked for identification. The woman grew louder and more dramatic, expecting backup. The officer realized she was the caller and the one moving out. They quietly supervised as she packed her bags. Neighbors watched her leave, embarrassed and furious, while roommates exchanged relieved glances. 4. An older woman parked crookedly in a crowded grocery lot and noticed a dent on a nearby car. In a rush of entitlement, she scratched the other vehicle with her keys while muttering insults. The actual owner returned shocked and frustrated. The woman immediately called police, claiming her own car had been damaged. She acted offended and righteous while shoppers stopped to stare. Officers reviewed body camera and parking footage calmly. The truth appeared quickly and clearly. Her confidence collapsed into angry denial. The real victim crossed arms, feeling vindicated. The officer issued a citation for vandalism and false reporting. The woman left humiliated as shoppers whispered. 5. A stressed retail worker watched a dramatic woman collapse near the returns counter, clutching her chest dramatically. She called 911, claiming a panic attack caused by unfair store policies. Shoppers froze, unsure how to react. Paramedics arrived expecting an emergency. While checking vitals, they opened her purse for identification. Inside were stolen prescription pills rattling loudly. Her crying stopped instantly, replaced by panic. Employees felt relieved and shocked at once. Police arrived and listened quietly. The woman tried backtracking with excuses. The store manager sighed in disbelief. She was escorted out in cuffs while customers watched, stunned by how quickly fake distress turned into charges. 6. A teenage driver sat nervously in the passenger seat while his aunt tailgated another car aggressively on the highway. She screamed into her phone and called police, claiming the driver ahead was threatening her life. The teen gripped the seat, embarrassed and scared. Dashcam footage later showed her swerving and speeding wildly. Officers intercepted her vehicle minutes later. She acted indignant and loud. The officer calmly noted the smell of alcohol. The teen looked down ashamed. A sobriety test followed under flashing lights. Her anger melted into panic. She was arrested for DUI while the teen waited silently, watching the consequences unfold. 7. A middle-aged woman drove through town calling 911 to report road rage against her. She complained loudly in slurred words while insisting she was being followed. The dispatcher listened carefully and traced her location. Other drivers nearby shook their heads, watching her drift lanes. Officers located the vehicle quickly. She protested loudly, claiming innocence. The officer asked simple questions and smelled alcohol instantly. Nearby motorists filmed quietly. She failed basic coordination tests on the sidewalk. Her confidence disappeared, replaced by confusion. The dispatcher recording played back her slurred call. She was arrested for drunk driving while onlookers murmured at the self-inflicted mistake. 8. A retired neighbor marched angrily across a fence line carrying a flashlight late at night. She banged on a door, yelling about loud music and disrespect. When confronted, she dialed police, claiming harassment on her property. The homeowner stood stunned and annoyed, recording calmly. Officers arrived and checked addresses quietly. They discovered she was trespassing. While running her name, a warrant appeared. Her tone shifted from yelling to pleading instantly. The homeowners felt validated and relieved. Neighbors peeked through blinds, whispering. She was escorted away, shocked and silent. The quiet street returned to normal as music resumed softly, and embarrassment lingered in the air. 9. A college-age woman wandered through a cosmetics aisle, stuffing makeup into her purse nervously. Security noticed and approached calmly. She screamed for help and called police, claiming assault. Shoppers froze, holding baskets, unsure what to do. Store cameras rolled clearly. Officers arrived and reviewed footage without rushing. Her story unraveled quickly. She grew defensive and tearful. The security guard stood quietly, arms crossed. The cashier sighed, exhausted. Police placed her under arrest for theft. The woman sobbed loudly, blaming everyone else. Customers exchanged looks of disbelief as she was escorted out, realizing the call sealed her fate. 10. A stubborn woman refused to leave a city park long after sunset, spreading blankets near locked gates. A park employee asked politely for her to exit. She called 911, demanding help evicting the gate itself. Officers arrived, amused but professional. She argued loudly about her rights. As they spoke, one officer noticed a strong smell. A search revealed weed tucked inside her bag. Her tone shifted instantly to panic. The employee watched, relieved. Families nearby gathered kids quietly. Police cited her for trespassing and possession. She left angry and embarrassed, muttering to herself, while the park returned to calm darkness. 11. A fashionable woman in her early 30s stood at a crowded bar, waving her phone angrily. The bartender calmly asked for proper identification before serving another drink. She felt insulted and trapped, and immediately dialed 911, claiming she was being held against her will. Nearby patrons rolled their eyes and whispered. Officers arrived and listened patiently. A quick breath test changed the mood completely. Her confidence turned into loud protest. Friends backed away, embarrassed. The bartender crossed his arms, relieved. Police cited her for public intoxication. She was escorted outside, still arguing, while the bar returned to laughter and music and collective disbelief. 12. A divorced mother arrived at a custody exchange, already furious and recording. She fake cried into her phone and called 911, claiming kidnapping and emotional abuse. Her teenage son stood nearby, mortified and silent. Officers arrived, calm, and separated everyone. They reviewed documents carefully. The truth emerged slowly and clearly. She had violated her own restraining order. Her voice cracked and confidence vanished. The child looked relieved but exhausted. The other parent watched quietly, vindicated. Police ended the performance immediately. She was warned and removed while neighbors stared from porches, witnessing a meltdown that backfired completely. 13. A stressed office worker clipped another car while changing lanes, then panicked. She sped away while dialing 911, claiming someone hit her and fled. Her voice shook with fake innocence. Traffic cameras quietly captured everything. Police traced the call location easily. Officers stopped her minutes later. She acted confused and offended. The damaged bumper told a different story. The other driver arrived angry but calm. Reality settled in hard. Police charged her for hit and run. She slumped against her seat, stunned, while traffic flowed on, reminding everyone how quickly lies collapse under pressure. 14. A young woman stumbled into an Uber late at night, already slurring. The driver politely refused service for safety. She exploded with insults and called police, claiming discrimination. The driver stayed calm and activated the dash cam. Officers arrived and listened to both sides. Footage played clearly, showing her behavior. Her anger turned to confusion. Bystanders filmed quietly. Police cited her for disorderly conduct. The driver nodded, relieved. She was escorted away, still shouting. The street returned to calm while the irony lingered that her own call provided the evidence that sealed her night. 15. A furious neighbor ripped down a pride flag under cover of darkness, then panicked when porch lights turned on. She dialed 911 anonymously, claiming vandalism nearby. Officers traced the call within minutes. They knocked on her door calmly. She answered with paint still on her hands. Her face drained instantly. The homeowners watched quietly from across the street, recording. Police questioned her gently. The story collapsed fast. She was cited for vandalism. The flag was rehung proudly. Neighbors whispered in disbelief as she closed her door, realizing she reported herself without knowing it. 16. A middle-aged tenant stood outside an apartment screaming into her phone about illegal eviction. She demanded police force the landlord to unlock doors. Officers arrived and asked for paperwork. She waved an eviction notice angrily without reading it. The officer explained calmly that it applied to her. Her anger shifted to stunned silence. Other tenants watched from balconies. The landlord sighed, relieved. Police supervised while she gathered belongings. She muttered excuses and blamed everyone. The building returned to quiet. Her call ended not with victory, but with enforced consequences she unknowingly invited. 17. A tipsy woman staggered into her driveway late at night and called police, crying about her stolen car. She paced barefoot, sobbing loudly. Officers arrived and checked plates. The vehicle was legally towed earlier for illegal parking. Her crying turned to yelling. Neighbors peeked out, annoyed. Police cited her for false report and public intoxication. The tow receipt explained everything. She slumped onto the curb, defeated. Officers left shaking heads. The street settled back into silence while she realized her own choices created the entire situation. 18. A stressed mother screamed at a cashier over expired coupons, holding up a long line. She slapped the counter and threw food items. When security approached, she called police, claiming assault. Customers backed away, shocked. Officers reviewed store cameras calmly. The footage showed her aggression clearly. Her tone changed instantly. The cashier crossed arms, shaking. Police charged her with assault. She yelled about respect while being escorted out. The line slowly resumed. Shoppers exchanged looks of disbelief, reminded how entitlement often collapses when reality replays everything clearly. 19. A flashy woman stormed through a casino after losing money and called 911, demanding a fraud investigation. She accused machines and staff loudly. Security stood calm and patient. Officers arrived and checked records. She had been previously banned for cheating. Her complaint unraveled instantly. Nearby gamblers smirked quietly. She argued loudly, then went silent. Police escorted her out permanently. The casino floor returned to noise and lights. Her call, meant to reclaim losses, instead sealed her reputation as someone who never learned when to stop. 20. A distracted driver swerved through traffic and dialed 911, angrily claiming a tailgating police car. She cursed loudly, describing harassment. The dispatcher listened carefully. The vehicle behind her was an unmarked unit. Officers activated lights and pulled her over. She froze, confused. A sobriety test followed quickly. She failed badly. Drivers slowed, watching. Police arrested her calmly. The unmarked officer nodded. Her call played back moments later. The realization hit hard that she summoned law enforcement directly into her own reckless behavior. 21. A nervous woman slipped to the floor of a grocery aisle and screamed dramatically, grabbing her ankle. She called 911, claiming a dangerous slip caused by negligence. Shoppers gathered, worried and confused. Paramedics arrived and examined her carefully. Store employees reviewed surveillance calmly. The video showed her lowering herself intentionally and glancing around first. Her pain performance faded quickly. Police arrived and listened. The manager crossed arms, relieved. Officers explained insurance fraud consequences clearly. Her confidence disappeared into silence. She was cited and escorted out while shoppers shook heads amazed at how badly the scam collapsed. 22. A confused woman called police late at night, furious about a loud party next door. She yelled about disrespect and demanded arrests immediately. Officers arrived and checked the address. The noise complaint matched her own house. Inside, officers found underage drinking and empty bottles. Teens froze in panic. Her anger turned to shock. Neighbors watched quietly from porches. Police issued citations and shut the party down. The woman stood speechless, realizing her mistake. The street returned to calm. Her call, meant to assert control, instead exposed the chaos she created herself. 23. A sharp-dressed woman threatened a retail employee during a refund dispute, leaning close and raising her voice. She stormed outside and called 911, claiming she felt unsafe. The employee stood shaking but recording audio calmly. Officers arrived and reviewed body cam and store audio. Her own threats played back clearly. Her posture stiffened and bravado faded. The employee looked relieved. Police charged her for making threats. Shoppers whispered, watching the reversal. She left furious and humiliated, learning too late that recordings do not take sides. 24. A wealthy woman called police, demanding mediation during a loud divorce argument at home. She claimed fear and emotional distress. Officers arrived and separated both parties calmly. During a welfare check, they noticed suspicious items in plain view. The argument stopped instantly. Her confidence dropped into panic. The ex-partner watched stunned and silent. Police searched legally and found hidden drugs. She cried, blaming stress. Officers arrested her while neighbors peeked through blinds. The call meant for sympathy instead exposed secrets she assumed were invisible. 25. A drunk woman leaned over a bar, screaming at the bartender for cutting her off. She called 911, insisting discrimination and poor service. Patrons backed away embarrassed. Officers arrived and asked simple questions. A sobriety test followed quickly. She failed dramatically, swaying and laughing. The bartender crossed arms, relieved. Friends slipped away quietly. Police cited her for public intoxication. She shouted about rights while being escorted out. Music resumed inside. Her call, meant to force another drink, ended the entire night permanently. 26. A furious woman keyed a random car, believing it belonged to her ex. She felt satisfied until the real owner appeared confused. Panicking, she called police, claiming vandalism. Ring camera footage played back, showing her clearly. Officers arrived and reviewed calmly. Her story collapsed mid-sentence. The owner crossed arms, amused and angry. Police explained charges gently. She sighed, realizing the mistake. She was cited for vandalism. The wrong target and wrong call combined perfectly to turn anger into instant regret. 27. A road-raging woman screamed and flipped off another driver at a red light. She dialed 911, claiming harassment while shouting her plate number loudly. The dispatcher recorded everything. Officers ran the plate she provided. It revealed outstanding warrants. She continued yelling, unaware. Police arrived minutes later. Her rage turned into disbelief. Nearby drivers filmed quietly. Officers arrested her calmly. The call, meant to scare someone else, instead led police directly to unfinished business she hoped was forgotten. 28. A woman sprinted from a liquor store, clutching stolen wine. Security followed, shouting calmly. She dialed police, claiming assault and dangerous pursuit. Officers arrived and reviewed footage immediately. The theft was clear, the chase justified. Her breathing slowed as reality set in. The clerk sighed, relieved. Police arrested her for larceny. Bystanders murmured, watching. She blamed stress and inflation. The call, meant to flip the narrative, instead delivered evidence straight into police hands. 29. A hotel guest trashed her room during a meltdown, throwing furniture and breaking lamps. She called police, claiming harassment by staff. Management listened quietly. Officers arrived and entered the room carefully. Damage was obvious everywhere. Her yelling stopped. Other guests watched from doors, annoyed. Police charged her for destruction of property. She protested loudly, packing bags. Hotel security escorted her out. The hallway returned to calm. Her attempt to intimidate staff only documented the destruction she caused herself. 30. A jittery woman sat in her car, hiding stolen items in the trunk, while dialing 911 about suspicious activity nearby. She spoke nervously, hoping to deflect attention. Officers arrived and approached cautiously. Her behavior raised concern. A consent search followed quickly. The trunk revealed merchandise with tags. Her voice cracked. Store security arrived confirming theft. Police arrested her calmly. She stared forward silent. The call, designed as a shield, became the spotlight exposing exactly what she feared most. 31. A loud woman marched into an auto shop accusing a mechanic of running a scam. She waved her phone and demanded police immediately. Customers paused mid-sentence, watching. Officers arrived and reviewed the invoice carefully. The pricing was fair and documented. As conversation continued, an officer noticed her plates did not match the vehicle. Her confidence cracked. The mechanic folded arms, relieved. A plate check followed quickly. She received tickets for fake registration. Her scam accusation dissolved into anger and denial. The shop returned to work quietly while she drove away slower, realizing the call uncovered problems she never planned to explain. 32. A frantic woman whispered into her phone late at night, claiming an intruder was breaking into a house. She hid behind bushes, shaking dramatically. Officers arrived silently and approached the home. The real homeowner stepped outside, confused, holding a phone. Cameras showed the woman attempting to break in moments earlier. Her fear turned to stiff silence. Officers questioned calmly. Neighbors watched through windows. The misunderstanding vanished instantly. She was warned and escorted away embarrassed. The house returned to peace. Her attempt to flip blame failed because the cameras recorded everything she hoped darkness would hide. 33. A middle-aged woman screamed at peaceful protesters demanding police remove them. She dialed 911, loudly claiming harassment. Officers arrived and checked permits. The protest was legal. Her car, however, sat illegally parked in a reserved zone. Tow trucks arrived quickly. Her shouting shifted to panic. Protesters watched quietly, amused. Police explained rules calmly. Her vehicle was towed. She stood helpless, filming. The protest continued uninterrupted. Her call, meant to silence others, instead removed her from the scene, leaving frustration and embarrassment behind. 34. A drunk woman staggered outside a bar after starting a fight and called police asking for a ride home. She slurred words dramatically. Officers arrived and recognized her immediately. An outstanding assault warrant appeared during the check. Her laughter stopped. Friends nearby stepped back slowly. Police arrested her calmly. The bartender watched, relieved. Onlookers whispered. Her request for help turned into handcuffs. The street returned to calm. Her voice recording played back quietly as officers led her away, proving familiarity does not erase consequences. 35. A masked woman smashed a store display during a tantrum and stormed outside. She called police, claiming rude employees attacked her. Staff recorded everything calmly. Officers arrived and reviewed footage. Her vandalism was clear. The mask came off, revealing shock. The manager sighed, exhausted. Police issued charges and banned her from the store. Shoppers watched quietly. She argued loudly but stepped back defeated. The store reopened smoothly. Her attempt to control the narrative only documented the chaos she created herself. 36. A middle-aged passenger erupted during a flight over seating assignments, yelling at crew. She called 911 from the aisle, demanding intervention. Passengers stared, stunned. Air marshals boarded calmly after landing. They listened briefly and reviewed reports. Her behavior spoke for itself. She argued loudly. Fellow passengers shook heads. She was removed from the plane and fined. The cabin exhaled collectively. The flight continued peacefully. Her meltdown, meant to assert authority, instead grounded her permanently, with consequences that followed her beyond the gate. 37. A nervous woman sat at a bank counter forging checks while quietly dialing emergency services. She claimed intimidation by staff. The teller remained calm and stalled politely. Officers arrived quickly. Surveillance showed the forged documents clearly. Her hands shook. Other customers froze, watching. Police questioned gently. Her story unraveled completely. She was arrested without drama. The teller sighed, relieved. Banking resumed. The call, meant to rush assistance, only accelerated exposure of the crime unfolding in plain sight. 38. A furious woman complained about noisy children playing outside and called police repeatedly. Officers arrived and noticed chemical smells nearby. While addressing the complaint, they spotted suspicious equipment in her backyard. Her confidence evaporated. Neighbors watched stunned. Police investigated further. A meth lab violation surfaced immediately. Her yelling stopped entirely. Children were ushered inside safely. She was detained. The street fell silent. Her attempt to control harmless noise uncovered a danger far worse than laughter. 39. A dramatic woman fake cried after bumping into a stranger at a mall. She called 911 claiming assault. Shoppers gathered nervously. Officers reviewed mall cameras calmly. Footage showed her initiating contact aggressively. Her tears stopped instantly. The stranger crossed arms, relieved. Police cited her for disorderly conduct. Onlookers whispered, watching the reversal. She argued loudly but lost momentum. Mall security resumed patrols. Her performance meant to gain sympathy, instead highlighted how easily truth catches up in public spaces. 40. A woman proudly rode a bike she claimed to have found and called police asking what to do. Officers ran the serial number calmly. The bike was reported stolen earlier. Her smile faded. Nearby pedestrians stopped watching. Police questioned her gently. She hesitated, then blamed confusion. The rightful owner arrived emotional and relieved. She was charged with possession of stolen property. The street returned to movement. Her attempt to appear helpful instead documented the theft clearly and publicly. 41. A disheveled woman dialed 911 claiming her phone had been stolen and her life ruined. She paced a parking lot, ranting loudly while bystanders stared. Officers arrived and listened patiently. One officer asked her to slow down and describe the device. As she spoke, she waved her hands wildly. The dispatcher quietly said something through the speaker. The woman froze. Her phone was in her own hand the entire time. Bystanders laughed softly. Officers tried not to smile. Her anger collapsed into red-faced silence. She ended the call herself, realizing she had reported a crime that never existed. 42. A woman called police crying about animal neglect next door after misreading an address. Officers followed her directions and arrived at her home instead. Inside, they discovered over 50 cats crowded into small rooms. The smell explained everything. Her confidence vanished instantly. Officers documented violations calmly. Neighbors watched shocked. She tried explaining love and rescue stories. Police cited her for animal hoarding. The call meant to accuse someone else exposed conditions she convinced herself were normal. The street went quiet while she sat on the steps, realizing she invited scrutiny she could not escape. 43. An angry woman threatened her neighbor during a fence argument, then immediately called 911 claiming fear. She forgot the line was recorded. Officers arrived and reviewed the call calmly. Her own threat played back clearly. The neighbor stood silent, arms crossed. Her posture stiffened. Police explained the seriousness. She argued loudly but stopped quickly. Officers charged her for terroristic threats. The neighbor felt vindicated. Bystanders whispered. The moment proved how fast anger turns into evidence when words are captured forever. 44. A woman demanded police escort her out of her ex-partner's house after an argument. She claimed intimidation and unfair treatment. Officers arrived and checked records. A restraining order existed against her. Her confidence dropped instantly. The ex stood quietly relieved. Police served the order on the spot. She protested loudly but complied. Neighbors watched stunned. The escort she demanded worked in the opposite direction. She left embarrassed, realizing the system does not bend simply because someone demands authority loudly enough. 45. A smiling woman joy-rode in a borrowed car while calling 911 claiming confusion about ownership. Officers checked the plate calmly. The car was reported stolen hours earlier. Her smile faded. Police asked direct questions. She hesitated. The owner arrived emotional and angry. Officers arrested her without drama. Traffic slowed, watching. The call, meant to appear honest, only confirmed the theft. The street returned to motion while she sat silent, understanding that pretending innocence does not erase a report already filed. 46. A woman blocked a parking spot claiming disability and called police when threatened with towing. She argued loudly about unfair treatment. Officers arrived and inspected paperwork. The placard was fake. Her voice dropped. Nearby drivers watched quietly. Police issued a fraud citation. The tow truck hooked the car. She filmed angrily. The spot cleared. The call meant to protect her convenience instead documented dishonesty that cost far more than a parking space. 47. A woman called police angrily about a fireworks show she hated and demanded it stop. Officers arrived and noticed fireworks boxes in her trunk. They questioned calmly. She panicked. The fireworks were illegal. Families nearby watched stunned. Police confiscated everything and issued fines. The show continued legally overhead. She stood silent. The irony hung heavy. Her complaint ended with consequences exploding quietly around her. 48. A drunk woman staggered outside a bar calling 911, crying about a lost phone. She ranted loudly demanding help. Officers arrived and asked basic questions. One officer pointed gently. The phone was in her hand on speaker. Her rant echoed back at her. Bystanders laughed. She froze embarrassed. Police issued a public intoxication citation. The call ended with silence. Her meltdown became a story strangers would retell for years. 49. A furious woman screamed through a drive-thru after a fast food mistake and hurled food at staff. She called police claiming assault. Cameras rolled calmly. Officers reviewed footage immediately. Her throwing started everything. The worker looked shaken but relieved. Police charged her for assault. The drive-thru resumed slowly. Customers stared. The call meant to dominate minimum wage workers ended her night in cuffs, proving rage never wins when evidence is patient. And that was 49 ridiculous times people tried to weaponize 911 and ended up exposing themselves instead. If this made you laugh, cringe, or remember someone you know, smash the like button so the algorithm knows chaos is appreciated. Subscribe to Brain Fumble and turn on notifications because the madness only gets worse from here. And now the real question. Which one of these felt the most painfully real to you, or have you witnessed an even worse cell phone in real life? Drop it in the comments.